On our arrival to Stockholm, a cold, freezing November wind froze me to the bone and disheveled my hair badly as soon as we came out the building of the central station. Stockholm Central was a light spectacle of shops, some of expensive clothes brands, and some early Christmas lights. There were still multitudes of people going up and down the escalators at that time in the evening. Outside, everything happened very fast. The streets didn't seem very crowded, but bars and cafes were still open and crowded. Sven arranged everything in seconds and got us into a taxi. Given the directions, we went absolutely quiet as if there was an unspoken pact going on. We dashed over T-Centralen and the taxi driver turned left. We ran over Sveavägen and Sven pointed out somewhere outside where according to him Olof Palme was shot dead long ago now. My hotel wasn't actually far from there, just covering a kilometer over Sveavägen. The taxi stopped at the door of Scandic Sveavägen in no time. Sven gave me some instructions. He said he would call in about an hour to arrange something for dinner together. It was nonsense that Magnus and me were checked in different hotels. Sven on the other hand could placidly sleep in his own Stockholm apartment. Yes, he owned an apartment in Stockholm, and that was news to me. My check-in was fast as it could be. The receptionist was starting to lose his patience with a woman from somewhere in America too. It looked to me from Cuba perhaps, or Puerto Rico. Perhaps Dominican Republic. Anyway, she was messing things badly, going from one question to other totally different in a way that only she found funny. She took her time for things. I got a room in the basement, a very modern room with comfortable bed, modern decorations, and all types of supplies, but with no window. The first thing I did was calling home. That was a routinary thing for me when being abroad, even in Birmingham. The coverage was really bad, so I had to come up to reception to have a proper conversation. It didn't last more than 5 minutes. I agreed I would keep Mom and Dad informed about next day, or I'd better say next days. I had some time for myself as I waited for Sven's call. I tried to gather if anything was unusual with Sven. My mind went back to our journey to Stockholm by train. I felt so restless in between, a mixture of worrying and excitement. I'd say it was more excitement. I couldn't relax and enjoy the journey. I certainly needed to do something, to be active. I decided to go and get some snacks to the cafeteria. On my way, as I knew, I met Sven. He had earphones on and he was sketching something on a notebook. "Are you listening to the Ark, Sven?" I asked. He just moved his head with disdain. "Do you want something from the cafe bar?" I asked. "No, I'm fine," he replied. "Is there anything you need, Sven? Are you okay?" I inquired. "Well, if you could, you know," he pointed out towards the floor with his finger. "What's sorry, Sven?" I asked. "You know," he continued as he looked around as if it was something delicate what came afterwards. "If you could go down on me." I had almost forgotten how bitter and sarcastic Sven could get, especially when acting a little silly. "I am sorry, Sven, I am keeping my way to the bar cause you may like it for sure." I think he didn't expect that, and I kinda saw a little smile escaping out of him. I finally got Sven on the phone. We arranged to meet in less than half an hour at his place. He told me to move all my luggage to his apartment. I thought it was crazy. I protested. It made no sense. "You both, Magnus and you, are coming to my place. Do as I tell you." It was madness now, checking out the hotel just barely half an hour after checking in. So I did. I quickly put everything together in my bag and went on a taxi towards the address Sven had given me. I explained to the receptionist I had to check out under the pretext of business policies. Sven's place was in a place called Kungsholmen. I wondered once again if Sven knew what he was doing. I thought once again the situation had overwhelmed him. There they were at Sven's. A modern and discreet small apartment, spotless, with comfortable sofas and little furniture, and somehow dark. "We are going to Södermalm, guys, cause it's Friday night. There you'll see perhaps some beautiful girls, but I don't want you to get frisky, you'll need to be fresh tomorrow," Sven said. Definitely Sven was just doing Sven. We crossed Västerbron before getting to Södermalm. There in one of those bars we could see much more people. There was also big racket and noise, and Sven found that the proper context for eating something and talk about next morning. I watched Sven devouring his sandwiches. There he stood dressed in a costume and wearing a dark tie, although his hair looked once again a bit messy. His shoes were classy and in fashion. Soon Sven ordered some drinking. I really hoped Sven knew what he was doing. I really hoped so. Then some modern music came. Sven looked around discreetly. "So, are you in a relationship or what? What's going on in your life in the States?" Magnus has a wife at home in Vaxjo and he knows he must behave like a docile dog. I am in a complex relationship. In fact, if I still gave Facebook a practical use, I'd change my relationship there to a complex or difficult one, you know, I said. "That's totally okay," came Sven straight away. "I rather have some time for myself now and see what finally happens with my relationship. In fact, I'll soon discover, as soon as I am back in the USA, but I am not very optimistic about it. I had plans of moving out to New Orleans and perhaps form a family with my girlfriend, but she has started to act strange and I don't know," I said. "You take it easy, boy, better safe than sorry. One day you meet a girl in a bar and the next you are already full of bullshit and problems. That's if you are lucky enough and you don't end up in a trial," said Sven. "I was once in a trial for Djurgårdens, but they never accepted me," said Magnus, looking at the wall behind the bar where a banner of the football club hanged over. We all laughed. "Stockholm's pride," pointed out Sven, then he sneezed loud and said once again his popular "Javla." He always does that. It has become normalized for those around who know him. That means something like "fuck" in English. It is really funny. I discovered Magnus and Sven liked Djurgårdens then, a popular football club in Stockholm. I tried to surprise them and I commented I knew Ibrahimovic had bought part of Hammarby Fotboll, also in Stockholm. Then Sven's reaction was priceless and fast. "From when were you interested in football?" "Oh no. Fuck sake, don't even mention them, they are rubbish, totally cling to the left," he said. "You said you weren't interested in politics, Sven," I said. "Well, I am not, that's why I hate that a football club becomes politist, you know. I hope it makes sense to you, darling." "Okay, Sven," I said mockingly. Sven and Magnus were really relaxed and even started to move with the music. If both were so like, I presumed Sven had everything under control, but I had serious doubts about it anyway. I wanted to know, I inquired between our comments and conversations, "So what's the plan tomorrow, Sven? Any guidelines of action?" I asked. I knew in a general way what was going on. Interrogations room. People accused of mass abuse and murder. People related to powerful companies and high society in Sweden. I wondered what Sven had to say in this matter. What was his role if not a silent or passive one? But it didn't seem to match his personality. "Do you know you are probably going to lose this time, Sven," I said. "I'll tell you details and what I want from you later, don't worry. And of course don't worry about winning, we have already won, just enjoy the moment." He stressed the first words of his last sentence as he toasted and clinked her glass vigorously with Magnus and mine. Then he laughed in a way that could possibly scare many.